Matt raised it up to 65 from under the gun.
This hand on the block. Do that every time.
Why I keep losing with this hand?
Wes here going to make a call in the small blind. Usually I would throw that hand away, but, you know, obviously Wes wants to open it up a little bit in his own game. Matt can be a little bit on the out of line sometimes, too, pre-flop, so he is dominated here.
I haven't seen Matt before. Is he one of the Austin guys?
He's one of the Austin guys. Played on most of the big streams, actually. And Matt's going to flop top 2 here. So this is big trouble here for Wes somehow if the case queen comes out. You can see he only has 2% equity here. And a lot of times, you know, Matt is an aggressive player post, so you wonder if Wes is still going to call one here. As you can see the check mark here for Matt, Wes is drawing dead.
I think that Matt was under the gun. It might help him a little bit here.
Wow, he bets 300. He overbets the pot and gets snap called here by Wes. Let's see if we see a clean river. Though Matt does have the ace of hearts, so it shouldn't really matter all that much. River here is a jack. Obviously, it's a very easy 3 streets here for Matt. And this might be a card that Wes is gonna, it's gonna help him to get away from it here at the end. So 845, overbet by Matt on the turn. You can see the whole action of the hand on the left-hand side of the screen in the action box. Wow, big overbet. Looks like maybe 1,500. I think he thinks that, you know, maybe Wes has a small suited ace, something like that. Well, we saw Wes call my overbet with the Jack-7, but that was top pair last night, so this is a little bit different.
Yeah, I think Matt's played this hand really well. He's put Wes in a tough spot.
Wes certainly has some much better hands here. He does block, you know, King 10 for the nuts. Doesn't have a heart in his hand if he thought that Matt might go 3 streets with a heart draw that's bluffed. And this would be one hell of a hero call. And he makes the call.
Looks like Matt defended with Queen 7 of spades.
Yep. Oh, here we go. Got a queen here, so top pair against top pair. Pretty textured board, though. And Rami's going to take a larger sizing, which can be reflective of that he's going to have a lot of hands that can call him that are worse, like pair putts, straight draws, as opposed to like a queen deuce 4 board.
Oh, here's a 7 of clubs.
Oh, wow. Queen's up here for Matt. A little bit of a sticky card. And I don't know if his hand is really all that strong enough here to check raise against this sizing. It's 175. Let's see how he plays it. Sort of a pot sizing. And also, if Rami takes the sizing on the turn, if we see like a deuce, is he going for 3 streets or is he just checking it back? This will be interesting. Oh, the case queen! Oh, wow. So look at this Matt here with queens full and Rami with ace queen. And I assume here that Matt is going to go for a check raise. Look like he has checked. What an awful card here for Rami. Now, the last time Wes Cutshaw's game was here, Wes made aces full of 8s against someone else who had ace queen with trip aces. And
yeah, Richard, who's actually sitting at the table.
And Richard made the fold.
Yeah, that was a great fold.
Here, Matt's going to check raise, obviously, as he beats pocket 9s, pocket 10s. And you wonder, can Rami get away from it? Is that an all-in?
Yeah, he ripped it on him.
All in. Well, Rami's got about 1,800 left. So it's a $400 bet at the end. It's about a pot size all-in, I would say. 650,014. It's probably about 3,200 to 1,800 to call here.
Wow.
3,200, 1,800 to call. The pot is reflective of Matt's stack, but Rami only has 1,800 in front of him.
I think this might be a hard hand to get away from when check, call, rip. I mean, it's going to be tough.
Well, especially if you were to think that Matt might put some money in on the turn with flop straights, sets, things like that. I mean, he could possibly have 9s and 10s as just a flat call heads up out of the straddle, closing the action.
Yeah,
he
some
likes
of
to
the
3-bet.
But it is a very wet board. You definitely think some of the times he's raising with those hands.
Oh, he's all in.
Yeah, and I think that I'm going to call here, seeing the cards. If I'm going to have a very, very hard time folding here. Especially when I know Matt's capable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we just saw Wes get into a situation.
Yeah, there's the call.
Wow.
And Matt, right off the bat, on a heater, making up for last night. Queen 7.
Queen 7. Perfect.
Yep.
Turn and river.
Yeah, he does. I'm probably gonna keep one.
So, seems like we've seen this configuration a few times here. Matt opens for a raise, Sung 3 bets, Matt calls. Oh, wow, look at that. And there's queen.
Action.
And Matt is not afraid to put in money with top pair if he thinks it's good here sometimes. So it's going to be interesting to see if Sung makes like a small bet. If Matt might actually check raise the flop with the ace of clubs. But it's actually going to go check, check, I think. Went check, check, quick check, check.
Oh, big card there.
Well, yeah, 9 gives queen jack open-ended. Wow, Matt checks
This
again.
is
Surprising. I'm a little bit surprised.
Like, Sung's got a bet here, right? Like, he can't...
I think Sung's going to bet now for sure. And I don't... It would be a very unorthodox play to check raise turn now against this sizing. Yeah, Matt's just going to check call. See if we see like a deuce or something here. What happens?
Wow,
I swear I can't see the
just
cards.
Calling them all out.
So now you wonder if Sung might value owning himself. Because if Matt checks, the way that this hand has gone down, you would think that a queen is the nuts here in a 3-bet pot. And here
I
comes
guess
the value
what
bet.
is Matt just
And here
concerned
comes the
about?
value own.
He's gonna-
DCH. Oh, Matt's got kings. Ace queen against kings here.
No, they're going to go out with some fireworks here, Bart.
Oh, and aces here for Justin. We talked about
my
how
goodness.
we hadn't seen aces versus kings in
Oh,
a long time,
wow.
if ever, on this stream. Now we've seen it
Yeah, I
two
don't-
times tonight. 2 times.
Boy.
And this is a cold 4-bet, so it would not surprise me from the tightest preflop player if Matt just calls. I think that just jamming here is not the most profitable way to play this hand. We saw Rami save money by just calling, and there was an ace that was flopped by not getting it in kings versus aces. So Matt just calls here.
Huge pot here, 1,005 in the middle.
Yep. Queen deuce deuce. Well, that's one of the hands you don't beat that might be cold 4-bet if you're Matt. Queen's full. You probably don't think a guy's just going to come out and slam for a bet of 800 with queen's full, but
It's just so hard to get away from kings, and I just...
well, one of the things is that when somebody plays a hand really strong like this, usually it's either aces or ace-king, or the other kings. So that's what Matt's really looking at a range of. I sort of discount queens with a just come out, throw a bet out here, so I don't mind calling once.
Sure.
But let's see if he might be able to get away and make an exploitable fold on a blank turn. Occasionally, if you make that fold, you're up against the same hand. But let's see if we see a non-heart turn here that comes on with like a blank card. Okay, that's a blank card.
Relative blank.
Oh, and Justin checked. Wow, okay.
This-
And Matt checks
wow,
behind for pot
Not
control.
falling for it. Not taking the bait.
And the river's a
Oh,
deuce.
goodness,
So
goodness.
full house over the top card. He checked
What?
again.
What?
Oh my God!
you
I'd be
kidding
jamming
me?
there. We saw him check behind when he had kings and he raised. Cutshall from about an hour ago. Here he checks aces from up front. And
That's such a
Matt's gonna
sick
check.
by Matt.
What is? Oh
It's just
my!
like,
Look
are
at
you
this.
kidding?
Matt's like, I knew it. I knew it.
TCH Houston, as well, we're going to say goodbye. Thanks for filling on in here, as we are going to be joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Wes Cutshall.
What's up,
As,
poker people?
Got
Look
you
at
back here in the commentary chair. Good to have you back here. As
What's going on, everybody? Look, it looks like we're setting new records with viewers. I saw a lot of people out there.
yeah,
Look at that, defending my straddle with the 3-4, and it comes 3-4-7. What a good time.
It's like a live vlog here. Take it away.
Yeah, so I decided to lead out in this hand. I have bottom two pair, something like a 7. Anything could be scary. Also looks like I might have a draw. I can get some action from a big hand. He could even call with ace king. So I decided to lead out in this hand. And the magic happens.
Oh,
The magic on the turn from Matt. I actually liked this card because he's supposed to have big cards, and I need him to hit something, continue in this hand. He's not going to like the 7-4-3 flop most of the time, but he's going to love a king turn, and he really loves it this time.
oh, wow. Give you credit to come on in here and talk about it, because this happened to me. I'd be, punching walls, kicking tables over. I'm usually a good sport, but this would be kind of like a punch in the gut. That's poker, I guess.
So far tonight, every time I try and bluff with a 3 in my hand, it's just
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else I was thinking at this point. I just thought it was a good card.
it's gonna have to be a 4. It's gonna have to be a 4.
He's going to float with all his ace kings and king queens most likely, because when you lead out on a board like this, it really looks like you could have a combo draw, maybe a pair and a draw. He should think all his cards are live. And I was totally okay with this raise. I did think, well, sometimes he has king, but it just doesn't matter. You're going to get it in here every time. I'm not deep enough to just call or raise. Any raise is basically going to be more than half my stack, so I'm kind of just wasting some time. You can see I'm staring at him because that's what I normally do in a hand if I'm actually trying to get a read off somebody, so I stuck with that. And I'm just going to kind of get a read off him, even though I know what I'm about to do. Put my money in, drawing dead.
So it's the worst way to go, but it's... Yeah, I think given the circumstances, that this was certainly understandable, but... Oh, boy, that's... It's not go probably the way I think you had hoped for tonight, but... The 9 of clubs comes on the end, and...
Yeah, it's pretty dirty. I mean, it happens. I don't know, you can maybe see later that everybody was wanting me to get back in the game, and I actually do have money on me, but I'm just like, no, that's what I wanted to. That's what I brought to play with. I won a little bit last night, and I'm not just going to go above what I brought to play with just because I ran bad. Matt's got a big one again. He's running pretty hot. How much is Matt up? Do we know?
Boy, I think he's up at least over 5 today.
Yeah.
Right, don't quote me on that, but I think that's...
These are always interesting flops when you have an overpair. And he's out of position. I don't think anyone's really gonna. Maybe a Sung. I was gonna say I don't think anybody's gonna put him to the test, but Sung's not just gonna fold right away. I can tell you that much.
I think he's going to get much jack. Well, okay.
The good thing about Matt is he's got the diamonds, as you see now. That you bet this flop, and even if you're wrong and they do have a jack, you can always turn equity. You still have your equity in hitting a queen the way that Matt hit a king on me, but it's also nice to have that backdoor diamond that it's hard to make mistakes just calling down with the overpair when you turn a flush draw. So the most interesting thing about this hand could be there's a diamond on the river, Sung goes for it and it doesn't work out, but instead Matt just hits the queen on the river.
Oh, it goes check. It's like, I think if you're going to be half paying attention, like you should just get up until you feel like
there's just something about walking and coming back that can kind of reset yourself.
Boy, Matt just keeps picking up hands.
Yeah, Matt's
here.
got 10s and Will's got ace queen. Matt's gonna. Well, he did 3. Oh, this is interesting. Doodle Bob, what are you gonna do? He's in such a weird spot, but he's not gonna fold. I don't think.
He might lay this down here. No. Oh, here we go. like to poke fun of his nittiness, but Mr. Helmuth Jr.
Even Helmuth would play this hand
Absolutely.
in this spot.
Why is he not doing the Helmuth like fist over his mouth kind of deal? We got to see that. See if he.
I think that's a post flop thing.
Oh, that's right.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Another 275 here to call for Matt. Heads up.
So Matt's sitting here thinking, man, I wish this guy was deeper. That's all I ever think about when someone 3-bets and they're not super deep. Is you want to call, you want to set mine, but they're just not deep enough. So,
Man.
you know, that's why I say don't predict what people are going to do. So Matt decided to call. See, look, he's
Look,
doing it.
there it
Oh
is.
my
Oh,
God. How is he running so
Nelly.
good? Are you kidding me? Now, don't get me wrong. Matt plays really well. I don't have any issues with how Matt plays, but man, he's running good
Yeah,
today.
it's
And Doodle Bob Helmuth is going to get one here right up his you know what.
yes, he will. As this could be a gigantic. Well, surprised.
So, Matt's out of position? No,
No,
he's
no,
in
no.
position.
Doodle Bob's out of position, and
I was just surprised he checked this flop. I guess maybe he's expecting a C-bet from big hands, and when he didn't C-bet, he's thinking maybe he didn't have ace, king, kings, aces, that maybe he had queens, which couldn't really call on this flop. But against ace, king, I don't know. I like betting this flop. I would bet the flop pretty small, so people could confuse it with like a stab. I'm just taking a little stab here. But on this turn, once you've played it that way,
Yeah.
once you've checked the flop, I would just call this turn bet. And I would actually take a long time to do it. I would just tank and tank. Matt's face is perfect. Like he's kind of like
I
thinking,
don't know,
but not.
maybe.
But he's not faking anything. Like he's not going, oh, I don't understand what's
I'm
going on
just
here.
So
When pe-
perplexed here.
and when people
What
do
is
that, it
going
just
on?
gives it away. But he looks like he's like, he should be running his eyes across the board a little bit, acting like he's trying to figure out some combos that he can beat. He did that to me in a hand, actually. He got me today where he knew he had the best hand. He had ace-queen, flopped ace-queen against my king-queen. And on the river, I don't know how well you can see it, but he was just running across the board. And I think all he was doing was trying to figure out the correct sizing. How many good hands do I have to call with? And he went with a big sizing. And it worked out because I was like, man, why is he scanning the board so much if he just has an ace? He shouldn't be worried about these cards, but he was really thinking about sizing more than anything. So,
Got Doodle Bob Helmuth here to the river as the action
Yeah,
track
he's
kept catching up.
I thought I saw movement out of the corner of my eye. Are we really still on the turn?
Yeah, no, there's. We're just waiting for that river card to scan that way. It,
Oh, so yeah, so he
goes
did
right back
call
into
and then he
the
showed the
There
river.
we go.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was a great call. Matt played it great. I would have bet the
Yes.
flop. I don't know that it matters in most hands, but now Doodle Bob is going to ask to borrow some money. This is a good hand going on here. I love seeing the hands with 3-5 against ace-queen.
Yeah, little baby suited connectors.
And then Todd just, I mean, he has Albert dominated in clubs, but he's just... See, now he's going to get into an interesting hand. So one of the problems I have with a hand like this, and when I see a flop like this, I'm just bothered that I can't make two pair. When I have ace-8 and it comes ace-10-10.
Yeah.
It's just,
you
it
always
seems...
feel like you're drawn to a chop in most case scenarios, or
It's
you're
like,
up
well,
against
you know...
the goods.
And that's why I would actually almost sometimes raise. See,
Like there, he's got
He
three pair,
does-
but it's worthless.
but listen, he does turn some outs for the river,
Right.
but yeah, it's a worthless two pair. Now, that's why I'd almost like to raise the flop. So if you have ace-8, you know you can't hit two pair. It seems kind of maybe backwards, but I might raise this flop just to try to either slow him down on the turn or just find out. I want to find out right now, does this guy really have an ace? I don't want to be guessing the rest of the hand and call off two more bets with my ace, so... So it looks like Matt, if this graphics are right, he put them all in. And Todd called off drawing to an 8.
Oh, Matt just crushing this game.
Yeah.
It is Matt's world, and we're all living in it here tonight.
It was a good bet. It was a good bet for Matt to realize that he was ace heavy. And it could have just been a factor of Todd not being deep enough to really get Matt off the hand, so Matt was just going to put them all in.
Well, Hot Todd has been busted.
We should call him Hot Matt because he is running hot.
Yeah, it is. I might have to turn it here to the chat. We might have to find a nickname here for Matthew Liu.
Though I won my ring. For those who don't know, I did win a World Series of Poker circuit ring at Choctaw. It was a 2,000 plus player field and 107,000 for first, and that felt like something.
Yeah, that's a great day of work.
I remember literally like I won the last hand. And I was like, oh my god, I just won $100,000. Are you like? It didn't last. Like it still just becomes kind of like a dream at that point. But I do remember the first time the card comes down, you're like, what? That really
like
just happened?
Like I'm the chosen one here at this point.
Doodle Bob playing his second hand of the night, doing the Helmuth impression. It's not going to work. He's got nothing but a backdoor flush draw, maybe a jack to win this hand.
I like that he chose even the hockey jersey, just like Phil tends to. But
yeah, we need to get him a full tilt hockey jersey.
One of those UB ones, those ultimate bet ones.
Oh yeah, he wasn't full tilt. You're right, UB.
Yeah. The other scam
black
artist.
Black and yellow. That's a good card. If you have nothing but ace jack high and you turn a heart draw, you're not too sad.
Not in the slightest, but he does realize he's...
Well, he's in position, so he's got a good chance that Matt might check. Even if Matt bets, he can just call. He knows he's not going to get raised since he's in position. Now, does he decide to take his equity into the streets and bet this turn card? I would. Oh, he checks back. Not West approved.
Damn. Queen on the end, of course.
Shocker. Now, does Matt value bet? That's an interesting... I think he can. I think he can definitely value bet this. And the reason I'm even questioning if he can value bet is the question is if he checks, is he going to get people? Because you're not going to get called. If you have a queen here,
Right.
you're just not going to get called that often. But see, he just goes big.
Just a massive size. Just going to shove them all in there for.
Yeah. So he's
just
hoping
he's hoping
he had something like tens and might just get frustrated and call it off. But I think it's a great play. I would have maybe done a different amount. So the pot was, it says the pot's 14, but he bet 15, so the pot's not 14,000. Matt's not all in. So he bets 1,500. I'm trying to figure out what the pot was before that. It was only a couple hundred, like maybe $500.
I'm not the
I think
most
betting
it's like
800.
600, and then it was like 12, just under 12, right? Like 1180 or
Okay, so it's a little bit bigger than I thought. Yeah, I definitely would like the overbet concept here. If you check, you're not going to get anyone to bet. If you bet, you're only getting called by a queen. So why not get the maximum if he has a queen? And if maybe sometimes he has jacks and just doesn't believe you.
Well, Doodle Bob making us all sweat here.
Look, the fact that he's thinking with ace jack, that means that's a good bet. That's all that means.
Yeah.
Like, he's thinking about this guy can't have anything. That means that was a good bet. That means he probably would decide or consider calling with tens or jacks.
Still a decision here on the end for Mr. Doodle Bob, a.k.a. Helmuth Jr.
It's just hard for a guy with 2% VPIP to call this river.
Still a decision looming. As you can see there, Matthew Liu has taken it to the streets. But if you want to take it to the tweets, you can follow us at TCHATX. You can also follow at West Cutshall on Twitter, at West Cutshall, or my Twitter, at HoopsMike. Taking it to the tweets. Yeah. I wish it was original, but that was one of my friend's bits.
And he calls.
Oh, wow, he did. What does he
Doodle
think he's
Bob
beating?
Called.
That unreal there.
Anybody else want to come give that money?
I cannot believe what I just saw.
If you thought
Matthew Liu.
if you thought that
boys and
river
girls.
bet didn't make any sense, well, guess what? You got to rethink everything you've been doing in poker for the last X number of years, because he just got called for an over pot size bet with ace high. Matt picking up a pocket pair,
And if they offer you more than 250 to play,
raises to
let me know,
40.
'cause I'm gonna-
Son calls with 3-5 suited. Todd calls with king jack of clubs.
You start with my man Todd. 26. You have a stack. 26.
Makes it Todd 3-bet king
Like I said,
jack.
I got rid of the unlucky 400, and then I got blessed.
Sorry, whatever happened.
Yeah, Matt's pre-apologizing for how lucky he's going to
And
get.
it's like, sorry guys, this is just gonna flop quads.
Like, you know what? Good for that guy. You know what? He's been pleasant at the table. Like, it's good to go.
You've ever?
How did we
goodness.
just know there was a 7 behind that king? How did we know? I'm just like, I see the king, and I literally thought, yeah, but there's a 7.
Well, I was
There's
wrong.
going to
I
be a
said
7.
quads. I didn't necessarily say set, but
Oh my
I mean,
God.
he.
Is there a way for us to bet on him? Like, can
Should
we
we do
just
live
go
betting?
somewhere
Like-
and bet?
I mean, we don't
How
really have
much money
sports
he's gonna
betting
win?
legally here in Texas, but
Holy cow!
I mean, I bet you can get action here as.
Holy cow!
Oh my
And now
goodness.
it's almost the opposite of what I said earlier. He almost shouldn't put pressure on Todd because he's running so good. Todd's
Todd's
fully going to
gonna be
believe
like,
it.
Okay, I give up here, guy.
Maybe like just a check min raise because
That's
nobody
always suspicious.
nobody in the history of poker has ever folded to a min raise.
The last time.
They just call and then you get to bloat the pot and bet the turn. And at this point, Todd just
Drive home again.
he's has so many thoughts in his head. There's so many things to think about,
From here to probably
and 50% of them are how good
if I were to get a
Matt's
hotel
running.
room, it takes me hours to wind down anyway. You know what I'm saying?
can't sleep for a couple hours after I'm playing.
I don't like it either.
Hot Todd, as we know him.
So the issue here is Todd's already showing his frustration and his unhappiness with this
It's
check
just-
raise. That how do you ever continue in this hand once you've done that? What if right now Todd realizes, oh wait a
I mean,
minute,
if there was a club there on the flop, like maybe I would think about continuing, but it's just sort of like you're left in a position where your only hopes are running like what 9-10 here in the spot. They're running King Jack. And you got the player that's just been in God mode right now.
yeah, I unfortunately I do think this check raise by Matt. I'm so afraid to say it because he starts cutting out chips, but I don't want to say it's bad. I just think he could have built a bigger pot. He wouldn't have scared him. He's definitely scared, whether he puts more money in or not. He's definitely concerned. If you do this play when you haven't won every hand for the last 4 or 5 hours, I think people start, he's definitely going to think that you could have some straight draws, flush draws. But at this point,
Gotta say, I've never seen that many pink chips stacked up here at Texas Card House. I've been here for a while, seen some of the big games. Not saying all of them, but that is probably in the top 5 of pink chip stacks I've ever seen. Those are $500.
yeah, that's a stack of 10K, guys.
Baller time. Todd's still considering it here.
I guess Todd has decided he's just either shipping it or folding, so he doesn't mind giving up all this information. Because if he ships it, he doesn't care that he gave up all that information if he's crushed. It's just if he ships it and Matt was bluffing, it doesn't matter that he gave up all that information because Matt just can't call. So it's really when you think that you're going to continue on further streets that you want to sit there stoic. But if you think you're just going to do one or the other, I'm not sure it matters. At this point, I feel like, oh, there it goes, and he just
My God, here
he just
we
punts
go.
it away.
Wow. Ugh. Boy, that is just Matt Liu has an all-time performance here, but still live. He's still getting out here to a 10, and, well, as you expect, a brick on the river is. All right, I'm going to, I think I'm going to grab Matt Lear and say, hey, I need to get some lottery tickets, some scratch-offs. Is there a craps game nearby oh, boy, you feel for Todd there. That did not know he was running right into the buzzsaw.
So Matt proved me wrong. I'm gonna point that out. It did work.
This is really incredible to see. As
He has 12,000 more than Albert.
that officially, I think, is the record for most chips on the table that we've had in any of our cash games here at TCH Live.
I have my own stream that I run at my
You
game.
wouldn't want to compete with that.
Now, I don't have whole cards, but as you guys start to meet or at least get to know some of these characters on stream, it can be pretty obvious when we're playing. You can see people know who we're playing against. There's a lot of talk going on. And look at this. Matt's got kings. But anyway, on Saturdays, I do stream on my YouTube channel. It's a pretty good setup.
It is really
Other
fun.
than you
It
don't
is a
have
very
whole
fun
cards. You
channel.
don't have whole cards, but the game is crazy. Plays a lot like this game. It plays a little bit crazier because, well, it just plays a little bit crazier. I don't want to say it plays bigger. It just plays a little bit more what's the right word? Unpredictable.
That is.
All right, so Spill
Never
and
know how to
Matt
get conflicts, but
going big time to the flop.
wow,
And it is a
this
huge
is a way
flop.
to go out here.
This is a huge flop. I don't want to predict what's going to happen. I just don't want to do it. I just
Matt,
I might get sick. This
we've got a trash can over there.
this
If
is
you're
insane.
feeling a little wheezy here right now,
This
you need to
could
excuse
be
yourself. This is.
So if I'm Will, when I have a
Damn,
hand like
Spill.
this, like you have top pair and a flush draw, you're ahead of almost every hand as a favorite, even if he has aces, that you just should put a lot of money in the middle. And the only way Will gets saved here is if he just doesn't play it super fast. I would have been raising this flop, trying to get as much money in as possible. I'm curious why Will just called.
Well, I think he noticed the guy is in kind of like God mode right now.
But part of me
running
doesn't want him to realize that equity of turning that stupid card that could beat me. Now, right now he's ahead.
Right.
But he turned some sets earlier. I just want to like punish this guy and make him make a bad call on this flop. Now, right now, he could also call correctly any bet, but Will's hand is actually still pretty big. Unfortunately, and look, he's got 35% equity. On the flop, it probably would have been, I don't know if you glanced at it, but it should have been closer to 55, 45.
Right. And, well, I mean, Bart had a really good video from Crushed Life Poker, just with, like, how to play pair and draw. And I think there's some school of thought. I play it wrong, like, every time, so I'm the
If
last
it's
person to
top
ask.
pair and a flush draw is definitely different than middle or bottom pair and a flush draw.
Exactly. All right, heads up here to the river is a 9, of course.
So Will saves a lot of money.
Yeah. What do you think Matt goes for here as a bet? Will's got 5.6K. Does he to go pot size bet here?
He should go big and will go big. So what's he worried about, right? Queens and jacks.
Would King 10 possibly?
Well, but would pocket queens and pocket jacks really just call on this flop when there's the flush draw, straight draw out there? Sometimes you see people do it, but most of the time they just go ahead and put a raise in, which is what I would do. I don't want to give people a free card or free draw, so he's not really worried about Will having jacks or queens, I don't think. Oh, he just checks. He should have bet that.
Wow.
Oh, man, that could have been a huge hand.
It's like
Will just saves
just
so
can't
much
believe
money.
It. It's just like